Language, like life, tends to adapt to its surroundings. For millennia, it bent itself around forests, mountains, rivers, and deserts. We'll get to ecophonology later, but in the 21st century, it's not the density of foliage that shapes our vowels, but the density of Wi-Fi signals. Welcome to the concrete jungle, where the bird song has been replaced by voice notes and the tribal call is a WhatsApp ping. For a while now, some linguists have speculated that as societies urbanize and lose their natural acoustic environments, the phonological systems of the languages might shift again, possibly becoming less tonal, more rhythmically dense, more monotone, a clean, tidy hypothesis. But hold your phonemes. Anecdotally, that doesn't hold up under scrutiny. In fact, what we're seeing now is a less gentle shift, more like a raucous linguistic mosh pit. Languages are simultaneously standardizing and splintering in ways that would give old school structuralists heart palpitations. Let's break it down. This isn't really going to be about tablet to tablet. I'm deliberating about how I ought to present my thoughts regarding the evolution of written systems. This is more concerned with spoken language. Globalization and the TikTok tongue. One glance at the average British teenager's vocabulary and you'll find a curious thing. It's littered with Americanisms, from math to trash, store, mom, season finale, and low key. Our kids aren't just borrowing words, they're importing grammatical structures too. I did a thing. I'm so over it. That's on you. These aren't just phrases, they're mini grammars, often delivered with an LA inflected intonation you'd expect on Netflix, not in Nuneaton. Why? Because English today isn't just national, it's platformed. TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube serve up linguistics at scale. A meme in Ohio can morph into a linguistic norm in Oxford by lunchtime. This is linguistic standardization by media osmosis. The once global is becoming the new local. Generation Z and their zesty lexicon. Generation Z, the first cohort to grow up entirely online, has cultivated a lexicon that is at once ironic, hyper-referential, and unapologetically fluid. Their vocabulary is a delightful cocktail of internet slang, repurposed millennial buzzwords, and freshly minted creation. Words like slay, vibe, check, riz, delulu, and situationship pepper their everyday speech, often loaded with layers of meme-infused meaning. Crucially, Gen Z, or Z, treats language less as a rigid system and more like a wardrobe of semiotic outfits. Pick a phrase, wear it today, reinvent it tomorrow. Grammar is often tweaked for comic or stylistic effect. Me after one coffee. Punctuation is optional and tone is everything. It's language as self-expression, identity performance, and community handshake all rolled into one. But wait, the balkanization of urban Englishes. Now here's the twist. At the same time as language is converging across borders, it's also fracturing within cities. Take a stroll through Birmingham, Leicester, or East London. You'll hear Pakistani English with retroflex stops and Urdu loanwords, Somali English with different stress patterns and phonemic substitutions, Jamaican patois influences fusing with Cockney rhymes and street slang, Indian English structures appearing in code-switched youth speech. These aren't ESL learners muddling through. These are new dialects shaped by heritage, solidarity, and the multilingual nature of British urban life. What we're seeing is creolization on demand. Each city district becomes a linguistic pressure cooker where cultural identity and peer affiliation matter more than etymology or grammar books. Return of the roots. Dialects and indigenous languages make a comeback. And while English is busy breaking apart and melding back together in urban high-rises and Instagram captions, something quietly powerful is happening on the periphery. The return of the local. Across the UK, regional dialects and indigenous languages like Welsh, Gaelic, Cornish and Scots are experiencing a passionate revival, from bilingual road signs in Wales to Gaelic pop songs and TikToks. These languages are no longer consigned to the cultural museum. They're alive, thriving, and often going viral. Young people in Cornwall are learning Cornish not out of necessity, but pride. Scottish school kids are texting in Scots. The old tongues, once pushed to the margins, are now symbols of identity, resilience, and rebellion. It turns out that in an age of global sameness, nothing says I'm unique like a bit of ancient flair. But here's the rub. Traditional ecophonology linked sound systems to the physical environment, forests, plains, temperature, etc. Ecophonology sometimes folded into acoustic adaptation theory that can be described by the following examples. Dense forests, like tropical rainforests. Higher frequencies are less likely to be absorbed or scattered by dense vegetation. And rapid pitch variations help cut through ambient insect noise. Hence, you get languages with more tonality or higher average pitch, in parts of West Africa or Southeast Asia. Open landscapes like savannas and steppes, low frequency sounds carry further and remain more intelligible over distance, ideal for herders or wide-ranging communities. You often see consonant-rich, lower-pitched languages emerge here. From the whistled language of Silbo Gomero in the Canary Islands to the alpine echoes of yodeling, geography has long shaped how we sound. Silbo Gomero isn't just bird calls for show, it's a fully fledged whistled version of Spanish, evolved to ping across La Gomera's deep ravines where spoken words would fizzle out. Similarly, yodeling, with its dramatic pitch leaps, isn't just an alpine party trick, it's an acoustic solution for cutting through mountainous echoes. In both cases, the land itself sculpted the sound, language molded not just by culture, but by cliffs and cows. But today, the real environment is social and digital. That's where the pressure comes from. Kids don't speak a certain way because the local terrain demands it. They speak that way because their mates do. Their favorite creator on YouTube does. It signals identity, coolness, belonging, toughness, playfulness. In short, language is no longer geographically grounded, it's mimetically driven. And we haven't even touched on Zoom accents, AI voice assistants pushing neutralized RP, or how phone companies compress audio and subtly influence enunciation. It's ecophonology, but now the environment is bandwidth, culture capital, and algorithmic reach. So which is it? Is English flattening into a dull, globalized stew, or is it flowering into a chaotic garden of microlects? Well, the answer is both. In one corner, mass media is steamrolling nuance. American English has become the default in entertainment, business, and even academia. In the other, heritage speakers and urban youth are remixing English into dozens of vibrant forms, richer in identity, but often invisible to those outside the community. It's like watching a river that's being dammed and flooded all at once. Some tributaries are being forced into one big channel. Others are digging wild new paths. Let's change gear. Language is identity. Let's not beat around the lexical bush. Language is never just words. It's identity, memory, rebellion, and sometimes even survival. Throughout history, those in power have understood this all too well, which is why language has so often been a target of control or a casualty of conquest. Take the infamous Welsh knot, a wooden plaque used in 19th century schools to shame children for speaking Welsh. The child wearing it at the end of the day would be punished. Imagine that, a punishment for speaking the language of your ancestors, your parents, grandparents, and perhaps siblings. It wasn't just a classroom discipline trick. It was part of a broader cultural erasure, neatly tied up with Victorian ideas of civilized society. Hop across to Spain. You'll find a similar story in Catalonia. During Franco's dictatorship, Catalan, Basque, and other languages were banned from public life. No books, no newspapers, no television. Speaking them was risky, and yet they lived on in whispered family dinners, secret poems, lullabies. Those languages survived because they mattered, not just as a code, but as a culture. Fast forward to Ukraine, where languages again a line in the sand. While many Ukrainians are perfectly capable Russian speakers, the use of Russian in public discourse has become a powerful act of resistance and pride. The lack of use of it, really, it's a complete rejection of Russia, probably rightly so. This phenomenon, the politicization of language, isn't new, but it's gaining new relevance in a world where borders are blurred by globalization, yet identity is sharpened by conflict and change. Now, let's not get too doom and gloom here. There is an incredibly uplifting flip side to all this: resurgence. Across the UK and beyond, so-called heritage languages are enjoying a revival. Welsh has government backing and a strong media presence. Cornish, once nearly extinct, is now taught in schools and can be found on Duolingo. Gaelic and Scots are alive and kicking. The message? These languages didn't die. They just waited. People are learning them not just to communicate, but to connect, to feel rooted. Because language isn't simply a tool, it's a vessel. It carries songs, jokes, ways of thinking, even entire worldviews. As a linguist, and let me drop my neutral tone for a second, I love learning languages to a high level because language is the key to culture. Grammar isn't just a set of rules, it's a worldview. Vocabulary isn't just words, it's a map of what matters to a people. So when we think about how language should develop, let's not treat it as a museum exhibit or a fossilized script. Let it grow from the bottom up. Let kids code switch. Let teens invent slang. Let communities reclaim the tongues of their great-grandparents. After all, we don't speak Shakespearean English anymore, and that's no tragedy. That's evolution. Language today isn't just about communication, it's about affiliation. TikTok teens, Somali British poets, Pakistani grannies in Bradford, they're all shaping English and doing so on their own terms. Urbanization hasn't flattened language. It's given it 1,000 new surfaces to bounce off. In some respects, the concrete jungle hums louder and more chaotically than the rainforest ever did. So next time someone complains that kids saying that slaps or switching between English and Urdu in one sentence, just smile. You're witnessing evolution in real time, because at its heart, language is most powerful when lived, messy, musical, rebellious, proud, just like us. And it's beautiful.